The government this week gave journalists a tour of its multi-million-dollar project at the electricity plant in Parkwood Pond, where the bulk of work is being done to significantly reduce power outages by January next year. The tour comes a few weeks after government imported 3 brand new Wärtsilä power generators that cost a total of $24 million. Officials from the Ministry of Communications and Works, the Bviec Electricity Corporation, and leader of the opposition and former Minister for Communications and Works, Julian Fraser, toured the plant with the media, starting in the control room.
This is our existing control room. At Parkwood Pond we have 9 generators currently. We had 2 that went in phase 1. We have a further 2 that went in phase 2. 3 that went in phase 3, which were the Rolls-Royce generators. Those were taken out in phase 4, and we put in 4 more new units. And now in phase 5, we're adding in 3 new Wärtsilä units. Back in 1991, when the plant was first constructed, this was pretty much all we had. We had generators 1 and 2, and a very small section of this panel in front of us. And over the years, it has grown from just 2 units to now 8 units, and we've become increasingly more modernized. Right now on the screen you can actually see 5 of the 8 units which are actually running at this time. You see units 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You can see how much loads on each engine, and you can see the parameters as well, but that's the basic information. Our shift controller here, Mr. Amer. He usually sits in the room, and he has 2 other operators who work with him. That's Mr. Amer. Yeah. If I say anything incorrect, just correct me one time and set it body straight, okay? Alright, so at this stage, in our development in the territory, our peak demand is very close to our actual installed capacity. And so we have now embarked on what many of you know as our phase 5 project.
Heading through the construction area into a separate building for the Bviec EC's Phase 5 expansion project, media was shown the ongoing developments.
So from here you can get an idea of the old station down there coming to the new station. And one of the first things that we had to do was to do a lot of excavation in this area to make room for the expansion. And we had to do a lot of soil retention up here. But instead of using retaining walls, we used a different technology to actually retain the hill, which saved us a few $100,000 as well. I'm going to let Dave from PB Power give a bit more details on exactly what the process was like to put this retaining structure. Dave?
Okay, so the method we're using over here is a technique called soil nailing, which is a new technology for the British Virgin Islands. The soil nails use the soil itself and the mass of the slope to retain itself and to stabilize itself rather than the big retaining walls, which are a lot more expensive. We're also teaming that with a rockfall drapery to protect a new power station from any potential future rockfalls or soil slippage or anything like that.
As you know, we're putting in 3 new 8 megawatt Wärtsilä engines at this time. So from here you can see the 3 new exhaust stacks for the units, which will be units 12, 11, and 10 for us.
Inside the new building, Creaky explained that the 3 Wärtsilä engines that recently arrived are now in position, and after some additional works, are expected to be in place for operation in December this year.
Since they arrived here, we actually get them onto the spot, which they have to be exactly in the right spot to the millimeter. So it takes some time to put them in the spot, couple them to the generators. We've actually put in their fuel tanks out in the back, which you haven't seen, they're day tanks. So those are a few things that we've done over the last few weeks since they've actually arrived on site. When these actually come on by the end of December, they'll be commissioned, they might have a few bugs to work out. So by early January to mid-January, we expect there to be a much more stable supply.
At the end of the tour, leader of the opposition, Julian Fraser, declared that he is impressed with the work being done. He commended Works Minister Mark Vanterpool and expressed confidence in Wärtsilä that is now helping to install the generators.
is impressive as it stands. I think that they're delivering in accordance to the plan that they presented, and I'm looking forward to the relief that it's going to bring. I've heard that by the end of this year, noticeable relief will be in place, and I am expecting that.
Minister Vanterpool said the older engines at the Pockwood Pond power plant, as well as the plant in Longbush, will be eventually retired, and government is looking toward the development of renewable energy for additional power.